Good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating story of a company that didn't just participate in the technology revolution, it actively architected it. We're diving into the history of Intel, a journey of innovation and microprocessor dominance. From a small startup in Mountain View to a global semiconductor powerhouse, Intel's journey is one of pivotal moments, market-defining products, and a relentless drive for innovation that has shaped the world we live in. Our story begins on July 18, 1968. Gordon Moore and Robert Noyce, two pioneers from Fairchild Semiconductor, founded NM Electronics, which would soon be renamed Intel. They were quickly joined by Andy Grove, and these three men would form the foundation of the company's legendary culture. Just a few years later, on November 15, 1971, Intel changed the world. They introduced the Intel 4004, the very first commercially available microprocessor. This single chip packed the processing power of what was, at the time, a room-sized computer. But the true turning point for Intel's dominance came on August 12, 1981. In a pivotal decision, IBM chose Intel's 8088 processor to power its first personal computer. This move solidified the x86 architecture as the industry standard and rocketed Intel from a component supplier into the mainstream. As we move into the 90s, Intel made a brilliant strategic move that went beyond engineering. In 1991, they launched the iconic Intel Inside campaign. This transformed Intel from an anonymous B2B component supplier into a household brand that consumers actively looked for and trusted. This brand power was cemented on March 22, 1993, with the release of the Pentium processor. Throughout the 90s, the Pentium name became synonymous with computing power and performance, cementing Intel's market leadership. By the mid-2000s, the market was shifting. The megahertz race was proving inefficient. On July 27, 2006, Intel launched the Core 2 Duo, marking a major strategic shift to multi-core processing and energy efficiency, a focus that defines computing to this day. Jumping to the recent past, the company faced new challenges and the need for a bold new direction. On March 23, 2021, returning CEO Pat Gelsinger announced the ambitious IDM 2.0 strategy. This plan involved doubling down on Intel's manufacturing roots and, critically, launching Intel Foundry Services to begin building chips for other companies. This brings us to today. Intel continues to push boundaries with hybrid architectures like Core Ultra, advanced packaging technologies, and a renewed, aggressive focus on leading the semiconductor industry in both chip design and manufacturing. So, we've seen the history. Now let's understand how Intel operates as a business. This section breaks down Intel's business model canvas, giving us an interactive look at the core components of how Intel creates, delivers, and captures value in the complex global technology market. First, who are Intel's customers? As this bar chart shows, their customer segments are diverse. The bedrock of their clientele consists of original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, companies like Dell, HP, and Lenovo, and the massive cloud and data center providers like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. They also serve end users and PC enthusiasts in the DIY market, as well as emerging sectors like IoT, embedded systems, and now even other fabless chip design companies through their new foundry business. Next, what value propositions does Intel offer? It's about more than just raw speed. As the radar chart illustrates, Intel's value is a balanced offering of high performance and reliability, cutting-edge innovation, a comprehensive ecosystem of partners and software, and a trusted global brand. And how do they reach these customers? Through multiple channels. This includes a direct sales force for major corporate clients, a vast network of distributors and resellers for smaller builders, retail and e-commerce for individual consumers, and of course, their famous co-marketing programs like the Intel Inside campaign on partner products. Now, let's follow the money. Looking at revenue streams, processor sales for clients and servers remain the cornerstone of Intel's income. However, as the donut chart shows, diversification into other products like FPGAs, IoT solutions, and the new foundry services represents a significant and growing portion of their revenue. On the flip side, Intel's cost structure is extremely capital intensive. The largest expenditures are in research and development to maintain technological leadership and massive capital expenditures, CapEx, required to build and maintain the world's most advanced semiconductor fabrication plants, or fabs. How does Intel maintain its customer relationships? It's built on deep technical collaboration. This includes strategic co-engineering with OEMs, dedicated expert support for data center clients, and fostering a large developer community with forums and software development kits, SDKs. This is all supported by broad mass marketing to build end-user loyalty. To deliver on all this, their key activities are clear: relentless R&D, state-of-the-art semiconductor manufacturing, global marketing and sales, complex supply chain management, and crucial software development to optimize their hardware. None of this would be possible without Intel's key resources. These are their crown jewels: a massive portfolio of intellectual property and patents, their global network of multi-billion-dollar manufacturing fabs, their world-class human capital, especially their engineers, their globally recognized brand, and the deep financial capital required to fund it all. Finally, Intel does not operate in a vacuum. Their success is built on a vast ecosystem of key partners, including the OEMs we discussed, critical software vendors like Microsoft, suppliers of manufacturing equipment and raw materials, and various research institutions. This brings us to one of the most critical topics in our presentation: Intel's competitive landscape. Once the undisputed leader, Intel now navigates a complex and dynamic market, facing a multi-pronged assault from specialized and agile rivals. This is a high-stakes battle for chip supremacy. The competition is no longer a single entity, but a diverse group. The first and most direct rival is AMD. In the x86 space, AMD has significantly eroded Intel's market share in desktop, laptop, and server CPUs. As the chart shows, they've achieved this with their high-performance Ryzen and EPYC chips, leveraging innovative chiplet designs and tapping into TSMC's advanced manufacturing. Next, we have NVIDIA. While once known for gaming, NVIDIA is now the AI powerhouse. Its dominance in GPUs, powered by its proprietary CUDA software ecosystem, has made it the undisputed leader in AI and accelerated computing. As this bar chart dramatically shows, NVIDIA's data center revenue has skyrocketed, directly challenging Intel in what was once its most profitable market by shifting the focus away from CPU-centric designs. Then we have the rise of ARM-based competitors. Companies like Apple, Amazon, and Qualcomm are leveraging ARM's power-efficient architecture to create their own custom chips. Apple's M-series chips have proven that ARM can compete and even beat x86 on performance, while Amazon's Graviton chips are challenging Intel's dominance directly in the cloud. This new wave of competition is enabled by the foundries, the kingmakers. For years, Intel's in-house manufacturing was its key advantage. Now, dedicated foundries like TSMC and Samsung offer more advanced process nodes. This bubble chart shows market share versus process node, where lower is better. You can see TSMC's dominant position, which has allowed competitors like AMD and NVIDIA to build superior chips on their manufacturing lines. So, where is this fight happening? This radar chart visualizes Intel's estimated competitive strength across the key battlegrounds.
While still strong in its traditional PC/client computing segment, you can see the intense pressure it faces in the data center, in AI and acceleration, and in manufacturing, where it is fighting to regain leadership from its rivals. Faced with these immense challenges, Intel has launched an ambitious turnaround strategy, IDM 2.0. This strategy is built on three core pillars. First, to reclaim process leadership by investing heavily in new in-house manufacturing with an aggressive technology roadmap. Second, to pragmatically use external foundries like TSMC to ensure the best process is used for each product. And third, to open its factories to the world, becoming a major chip manufacturer for other companies through Intel Foundry Services. Now, let's look at the numbers to see how this strategy is performing. This is a snapshot of Intel's recent financial performance, which gives us an indication of their stabilization and strategic growth. In the third quarter of 2025, Intel showed key signs of a turnaround. Total revenue hit $18.5 billion, a slight 3% year-over-year increase, indicating stabilization in its core markets. More importantly, net income was a strong $4.2 billion, driven by operational efficiency and growth in new, high-margin segments. This resulted in an earnings per share of $1.02, which exceeded market expectations and helped boost investor confidence. This donut chart breaks down that revenue by business segment. While client computing, the traditional PC business, is still the largest, it faces market softness. The real story here is the strong demand for AI accelerators reflected in the data center and AI group, and the rapid new growth from Intel Foundry Services, IFS. We also see steady, diversified strength from the Network and Edge group and the Mobileye Automotive division. Zooming out, this line chart shows the annual revenue trend over the last 3 fiscal years. It clearly reflects the difficult, post-pandemic market correction in 2023. However, it also shows a distinct recovery in 2024. This recovery is being driven by those strategic shifts toward high-growth areas like AI and foundry services, demonstrating resilience and a successful adaptation to a changing market.
So, what are the key takeaways from this financial data? First, AI is now a primary growth engine, with the data center and AI segment leading the charge. Second, the foundry is on the rise. Intel Foundry Services is showing significant momentum in winning new customers. Third, while the traditional PC market faces challenges, a focus on high-performance segments is helping maintain profitability. And fourth, Intel is showing diversified strength, with networking, edge computing, and automotive, Mobileye, providing a balanced and resilient business model. This brings us to our conclusion. Intel is truly at a crossroads. Once the undisputed semiconductor leader, it now faces a multi-front battle to reclaim its dominance. These final slides visualize the core challenges that will shape its future.
First, the new battlefield. Intel's market is no longer a monopoly. This radar chart vividly illustrates the competitive pressure. It's not just about CPU performance anymore. Intel must now excel simultaneously against specialized rivals, against AMD in CPUs, against NVIDIA in AI and GPU acceleration, and against ARM in power efficiency. It's a battle on all fronts. At the heart of this fight is the manufacturing hurdle. For decades, manufacturing was Intel's moat, its unbeatable advantage. As this chart clearly shows, recent delays in Intel's process node advancement, the blue line, allowed competitors using foundries like TSMC, the green line, to take the lead. On this chart, smaller is better, and this visualizes the pivotal shift in process leadership that Intel is now fighting to reverse. Intel is also facing shifting market demands. The tech world's center of gravity has moved. While the PC market is mature,
The donut chart shows that hypergrowth now comes from the data center, AI, and automotive sectors. Intel must successfully pivot its product focus to capture these high-value opportunities or risk being left behind.
Finally, this entire turnaround is a high-stakes financial bet. Reclaiming leadership requires unprecedented investment. We are talking about massive capital expenditure, over $20 billion for a single advanced fab, and over $15 billion in annual R&D just to compete on design. This puts immense pressure on short-term profitability, forcing a difficult balancing act between a long-term vision and short-term shareholder expectations. Intel's response to all these challenges is the road ahead, IDM 2.0. It is a comprehensive strategy to fundamentally reshape its business model and operational focus. The plan is clear and built on 3 pillars. 1. Regain manufacturing leadership by accelerating their process roadmap to achieve parity and leadership by 2025. 2. Build a world-class foundry, manufacturing chips for other companies to drive scale. And 3, deliver leadership products, innovating in chip architecture for the new battlegrounds of PC, data center, and AI.
In conclusion, Intel's journey from the 40004 to the Core Ultra, from the Intel Inside campaign to the IDM 2.0 strategy, is a story of profound adaptation. The company faces the most intense and multi-front competition in its history. However, with a clear strategic response, a renewed focus on its engineering roots, and an unparalleled financial commitment, Intel is not just defending its legacy, it is fighting to define the next era of computing. The road ahead is difficult and expensive, but if they succeed, they will have engineered one of the greatest corporate turnarounds in modern history. Thank you.